35-year-old Selena lives in a single room with her daughter Nira and her new son-in-law Rakib. On the surface, she's happy. Her daughter has found a partner and she has a new family. But deep down, a strange unease has taken root. It's Rakib. His courtesy is excessive, almost suffocating, and his gaze, it lingers on her a moment too long, sending shivers down her spine that she can't quite explain. Rakib seems to want to be near her all the time. From morning till night, he finds excuses to be in her presence, as if he can't bear to be without her. He brings her tea, strikes up conversations about her day, her past, anything. But Selena senses a hidden purpose behind his innocent questions. It feels less like a son-in-law getting to know his new mother, and more like a man trying to peel back the layers of a woman he finds intriguing. The attention is unsettling, and a knot of anxiety tightens in her stomach with every interaction. One afternoon, as she was folding laundry, Rakib came and stood beside her. He spoke softly, his voice barely a whisper. "Even if you don't want me to, I feel you very close." The words hung in the air, charged and dangerous. Fear and a strange, unwelcome flutter of conflict bloomed in Selena's chest. This wasn't right. He was her daughter's husband. The line was blurring, and she felt herself standing on the edge of a precipice she never wanted to approach. The discomfort was no longer just a feeling. It was a physical presence in the room with them. The nights are the worst. The three of them sleep in the same small room to save money. Nira sleeps beside her husband Rakib, and Selena sleeps on a mat next to him. The proximity is a torment. The small space feels charged with a silent tension that suffocates her. She can feel the warmth radiating from his body, can hear his every breath. Sometimes, in the dead of night, she feels him shift, a subtle movement, as if he's trying to inch closer to her. The gentle rustle of the bedding sends waves of pressure and discomfort through her. Each night is a battle, a silent war waged in the darkness, where she has to fight the urge to scream, to run, to escape this unspoken, creeping advance. One night, unable to sleep, they were both awake while Nira slept soundly. Rakib turned his head towards her in the dim light and confessed, "Talking to you. It feels strangely peaceful." His admission was simple, yet it carried the weight of 1,000 unspoken thoughts. This feeling he described, this peace, went far beyond the normal boundaries of a son-in-law and mother-in-law relationship. It was a confession of an emotional connection, a dangerous intimacy that had no place in their lives. Selena's heart pounded in her ears, a frantic drumbeat against the silence of the night. Gathering her courage, Selena finally confronted him the next day. "Your gaze. It scares me, Rakib," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "Please think of Nira. This could destroy her peace, our family." She hoped her plea would reach him, that her appeal to his duty as a husband would bring him back to his senses. But Rakib's response shattered her hope. He looked at her with an unnerving depth, his eyes filled with a sorrow that seemed to mirror her own. "But you are so alone," he whispered. The words weren't an excuse. They were an acknowledgement of her own hidden loneliness, a private feeling he had somehow seen and was now reflecting back at her. The intimacy of his observation sent a tremor through her entire being. He wasn't just attracted to her, he felt he understood her. The next morning, as Selena was cooking, she felt his presence behind her. She didn't have to turn around to know it was him. "You are avoiding me," Rakib stated, his voice calm and steady. It wasn't an accusation, but a simple claim, delivered with a confidence that disarmed her completely. His directness made her feel even more helpless, trapped. There was no pretense, no game. He knew she was pulling away, and he was calling her out on it. Her kitchen, once her sanctuary, now felt like a cage. A few days later, they were preparing vegetables together. As they sat side by side, Selena could feel the energy between them, a magnetic pull she was fighting with every fiber of her being. She sensed his intention before he even moved. He wanted to touch her hand. His own hand trembled slightly as it hovered near hers, a silent attempt mixed with his own shame, fear, and internal conflict. For Selena, this tiny aborted gesture was the final straw. The feeling of "this is not normal" was no longer a quiet whisper in her mind. It was a screaming siren, threatening to break her from the inside out. This wasn't just a misplaced crush. It was something deeper and far more dangerous. The silence between them grew heavy, punctuated only by the sound of their breathing. Rakib broke it again, his voice raw with a desperate need for an answer. "Why do you keep me away?" he asked, his eyes searching hers for something, anything. Selena felt herself caught in a terrible, silent conflict. To answer would be to acknowledge the reality of their situation. To stay silent would be a lie. In those agonizing moments, she felt herself on the verge of breaking down completely. Her carefully constructed walls crumbling under the weight of his relentless pursuit and her own confusing emotions. Then came the moment she had been dreading. For the first time, Rakib laid his feelings bare, without any poetry or pretense. "I'm not saying anything wrong," he said, his voice direct and firm. "If you don't want this, I just want your reaction. I just want to know." His confession was a punch to the gut. A cold fear washed over Selena. She understood now. This wasn't just him waiting to see if she shared his feelings. It was a demand for her to choose, to react, to participate in this forbidden narrative he was writing for them. He had placed the burden squarely on her shoulders. As the days turned into weeks, the tension became a living thing in their small room. Rakib's advances grew bolder, his words more suggestive. "If you want it, everything will change," he once whispered to her as Neera slept. It was an offer, a promise of something new and exciting, but it was wrapped in a dangerous attraction that terrified her. The possibility of change was both a temptation and a threat, a path that could lead to a forbidden happiness or complete destruction. The choice, he implied, was hers. That night, lying in the dark, Selena asked herself the question that scared her the most. Do I really want to stop him? And the most terrifying part was that the answer was unclear, even to her. A part of her was repulsed, horrified by the situation. But another, smaller, lonelier part of her was intrigued. This internal conflict was her greatest fear. It wasn't just about resisting him anymore. It was about resisting a part of herself she never knew existed. One morning, as she was making tea, she felt his familiar presence behind her. He leaned in close, his breath warm on her neck. "Why are you afraid?" he murmured. His words were no longer a question, but a statement, so dense with demand, with certainty, that Selena felt the last of her defenses crumble. There was no more room to run, no more space to hide. He had cornered her, not just physically, but emotionally and psychologically. Finally, he delivered the sentence that would change everything, the sentence that seemed to seal her fate. He looked her directly in the eye, his gaze intense and unwavering. "Everything develops in the mind," he said, his voice low and confident. "If you really wanted to stay away, you wouldn't have looked at me like that." His words hit her with the force of a revelation. He was telling her that he saw her complicity, her unspoken desire in her own eyes. He wasn't just pursuing her, he believed she was inviting him in. This accusation, this twisted interpretation of her fear and confusion, opened up a terrible new dimension to their silent war, forcing a decision she could no longer avoid.